Here's a question almost nobody asks themselves until it's too late. If your children had a completely free weekend, with nowhere they had to be, would they choose to spend it with you? Not out of guilt, not out of duty, not because they should, but because they actually want to. For most families, the honest answer is uncomfortable. And today, we're going to talk about exactly why that happens, and more importantly, exactly how to fix it before it's too late. Stick around until the end, because the fourth thing I'm going to share is the one most parents get backwards, and it's quietly the reason so many adult children pull away. Before we get into it, let me ask you something in the comments. How often does your family actually visit right now? Every week? Once a month? Only on holidays? I want to know, because by the end of this video, I think that number is going to look very different to you. Okay, let's get into it. Aging alone isn't usually caused by some dramatic family fight. There's no single explosive moment most of the time. It happens slowly, through 1,000 small choices, until one day you realize the phone doesn't ring as often as it used to, and visits that were once weekly have quietly become whenever we can. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most parents don't see it coming because they assume love guarantees closeness. It doesn't. Love is permanent. Closeness is to be built and maintained, the same way you'd maintain anything else that matters. The first truth is this: your children are not avoiding you. They're avoiding an experience. If visiting you feels heavy, tense, or obligatory, distance is a rejection of you as a person. It's a completely human response to discomfort. The good news, and that is huge, if distance comes from an experience, then the experience can be redesigned. The second truth is that guilt is the fastest way to push someone further away, even though it feels like the only tool many parents have left. You never call. You only think about yourself. I won't be around forever. These phrases might come from real hurt, but they don't create connection. They create avoidance. Every time a visit ends in guilt, the brain quietly files that visit under stressful, and stressful things get postponed. If you want more visits, the home has to start feeling like relief, not an obligation with consequences attached. The third truth is about identity. Many parents, once their children are grown, slowly let their own lives shrink down to just one subject: their kids. No new hobbies, no new friendships, no new stories. And without realizing it, every conversation becomes about catching up on the children's lives, because there's nothing else to talk about. That might sound caring, but children often experience it as pressure, like they're the only source of meaning in their parents' life. People are far more drawn to relationships that feel mutual, not relationships where they're the sole emotional supply. The fourth truth, and this is the one most people get backwards, is that closeness isn't built through obligation. It's built through becoming someone genuinely interesting to be around. Children don't want to visit a person who only asks questions about their schedule and their choices. They want to visit a person who has their own world, new experiences, new opinions, new stories, maybe even new skills. A parent who's still growing is magnetic. A parent who's only waiting is, unintentionally, exhausting to be around. The fifth truth is about expectations. A lot of resentment in families comes from a quiet, unspoken contract that was never actually agreed to, the belief that I raised you, so you owe me regular visits. Even if that feels fair from one side, obligation-based relationships rarely produce warmth. The relationships that last and that people actually want to show up for are the ones built on choice, not debt. The sixth truth is that environment matters more than people realize. A home filled with tension, criticism, or constant negativity becomes a place people brace themselves before entering. A home filled with warmth, humor, and acceptance becomes a place people look forward to. This isn't about money or how big the house is. It's about emotional temperature. People go where they feel good, the same way they always have, since childhood. The seventh truth is about independence. Ironically, parents who maintain their own friendships, routines, and sense of purpose are usually the ones that children visit the most, not the least. Why? Because there's no underlying fear of becoming responsible for someone else's loneliness. Visits driven by worry feel like duty. Visits driven by genuine enjoyment feel like a gift. Independence removes the weight from the relationship. The eighth truth is that grandchildren change everything, and most grandparents miss the opportunity. Kids don't remember perfectly clean houses or polite small talk. They remember the grandparent who got down on the floor to play, who told a wild story, who made them laugh until they couldn't breathe. If you want your children to keep returning, becoming an unforgettable present for your grandchildren is one of the strongest, most natural ways to do it. The ninth truth is about communication. Many older parents, without meaning to, default to advice and correction in almost every conversation. But adult children aren't looking for a manager. They are looking for a relationship. The parents who stay closest to their grown children are usually the ones who learn, at some point, to simply listen, to be curious about their child's life instead of constantly steering it. And the 10th truth, the one that ties everything together, the goal was never to build a life your children feel obligated to visit. It's to build a life so genuinely warm, interesting, and emotionally safe that visiting you becomes one of the best parts of their week. Not because they have to, but because they truly want to. That's the real difference between aging alone and aging well. It's not about how many years you have left. It's about how many people genuinely want to spend those years near you. And that part, more than almost anything else in life, is something you actually have the power to build. If this video gave you something to think about, hit subscribe, because I'm sharing more honest, unfiltered conversations about family, aging, and the relationships that actually matter in the videos coming up. And if there's a parent or grandparent in your life who needs to hear this, send it their way. It might change the next chapter of a relationship with their family. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.